Hello my dear students, welcome all of you in our PPS video lecture series, and I am Professor Bhumi Patel from LG Institute of Engineering and Technology. Now our second unit is already started, that is fundamentals of C, and first topic, that is the features, history and structure of C program, that is already discussed in a theoretical base and in a practical base. Now we are going to start with the another topics of second unit, that is C token and the data types. So let's move to that topic, C token. Token means what first? It is nothing but the smallest unit of our program. Whenever I am writing any of the program, one semicolon is missing, that indicates our error. Means that semicolon is nothing but our token. How? That's we are discussing here in our theory in a details. So token means what? It is a smallest unit of our program, and there are 6 different tokens available. Likewise that keywords, identifier, constant, then spatial symbols, operators and string. So one by one we are moving to that topics, and the very first is keyword. Now what is the meaning of it first? The word, that meaning is fixed, and how it can be executed, that is known by the compiler. So it is also known as a reserve word. As you all guys aware of the word reserve, means what? When you are making ticket booking for a railway reservations, there is some reserve quota. Also when you are taking admission, then also the reserve quota is there. So you all are aware of the word reserve. Same principles here in our C language. The word reserved means it is booked already, and for that purpose we can use only that words. So it is known as a reserve word. Which are the reserve words? There are 32 keywords in our C programming, like if, while, for, then void. There are 32 keywords that are given in our textbook in one chart that you have to remember. Now move to the second type, that is identifier. Identifier means it is again word, it is simply we can say that the variables. So whenever I want to store any data, then we need what? Variables, and that variables is nothing but our identifier. So whenever I am taking one example of additions, then we are taking 2 different variables A, B and C something. So A is nothing but our identifiers. But if you remember, A is name given, but one A, that name is not given by me. Why? Because the identifier has to follow some kinds of rules. Then and then you can define their variable name. So identifier means simple variables that is defined by the user, not it is a fixed word, but it is created, it is defined by the user, but it has to follow some rules. So here I mentioned some rules, and the first rule is it only have a alphanumeric characters and underscore. Means you can write characters, digits and underscore only whenever you are writing the name of variables. The second is the first character must be start with alphabets or a underscore. Means suppose I take one example, if you are writing A1, then it is correct by the rules 1 and 2 because it consists of digits, alphabets and underscores. So A1 is possible, but according to second rule, suppose you are writing 1A, then it is wrong because the first character of your variable start with always alphabets or a underscore. Now the third rule is keyword cannot be used as an identifier. As I discussed earlier, keyword is what? The reserve seats. It is already booked, you cannot utilize that. So same principles here, identifier is user defined. So user have to create, it has not directly used the keywords as an identifier. The next is a case sensitive. Suppose I take small a variable and capital A variables. then these two are the different variables, that is known as a case sensitives. Then no special characters is allowed. Special characters is like semicolon, comma. Then if you remember, when you are saving any documents, then space is not allowed between the name. So that's same principles here. We have not allowed any space, then semicolon, comma, dash, that we can say our special characters that cannot be used in a name of variables. And the last is, suppose you are writing obviously by mistake the name of variables 50 characters. Then what happens? Only the maximum 31 characters can be assigned for a variable's name. So these all the rules you have to follow whenever you are making program and writing the name of variable or a name of functions. So here I am taken different example of identifier, that is variable A you can take, area and A1, but 1A is not possible. Remember these things. Now move to the third, that is constant. What is meaning of it? Constant means fixed value and keyword means fixed meaning. These two terms are different. Constant means fixed value, that is never change during our execution of program. And here the two different kinds of constant. First is a numeric constant and second is a non-numeric, or we can say that character constant. So in a numeric constants, again it is categorized in a two different way, integer and real constant. Integer means what? You can store whole number without decimal points, that we discuss later on in our next topics, that is data types. So here I am taking one example of an integer constant, that is 10. But the real is different, that accept the decimal value also. So here the real constant is nothing but 10.5. Now move to the second category, that is character constants. So here you can assign the character also, not only the digits. So again divided in a two part, first is a single character and second is a string. In a single character you must be remember, always you have to write in a single inverted. But if you want multiple characters, then it is known as string and you have to write it in a double inverted. Single inverted for a single character, double inverted for a multiple characters. So this is all about the constant. Now move to the fourth one, that is operators. Operator is totally different topics in this chapter. So just I am giving here the overview. There are 8 different operators you have to learn for this theory. I mentioned only 2 and 3, that is arithmetic, relational, logical. In details we will see in our next lecture in this same chapter. And the example is plus, minus, less than, greater than and all the things. Now move to the next, that is spatial symbols. Now what is the meaning of spatial? As you all are aware of it, some symbols that has spatial meaning and it is only used for a specific purpose, that is known as spatial symbols. Means semicolon. Where we are using semicolon, if you remember our practical sessions, then at the end of each and every statements in a declaration part and executable part there is a semicolon. But you are not use that semicolon at any other place. Clear? So that type of symbols is known as a spatial symbols. For example, hash signs, that is only for a hash include. Then curly brackets, whenever we are using void main and then start indicates with a curly bracket, instead of curly bracket if I put round bracket, then it has a different meaning, because the spatial symbol has some spatial meaning that it is used for. So spatial symbols like semicolon, comma, round bracket, curly bracket, square brackets are here the examples. Now the last is a string. It is already discussed in a constant. String means collection of characters, multiple characters. So you have to follow double inverted for writing multiple characters. Now here our C token theory is completed and move to the most important part, that is data types. There are 3 different data types available in C: primary data types, derived data type, and third is a user defined data type. Now move to the very first, that is primary data types. The definition is just like that, the predefined or a inbuilt data types that are available in our C, that we can say that primary data types. Here the primary data types is mainly categorized in a 4 different part. First is a integer, second is a float, third is a character, and last is a void. So integer means what? It stores the whole value without decimal point. Float means it accepts the data real number with decimal value. Character means it stores the alphabet also. And void is mostly used for functions, that is our unit, total different unit. In that unit we learn more about that concept void. Right now you have to use just void in a void main, no any other purpose the void is used. Now integer is again categorized in a 2 parts, signed and unsigned. So what is the name? Signed. Signed means when you are writing -5 plus fine, that means it has some sign. So minus and plus is indicated with a negative values and positive values. So according to the name, the signed integer store negative and positive both value. But the unsigned value means unsigned type store only which positive value. Suppose I am writing 5 without any sign, then must be it is a positive. So here you have to just remember sign stores both the value negative and positive, and unsigned store only the positive values. It is again categorized in a 3 different way, that is integer, short integer and long integer. Same for a unsigned integer. So what is the difference of these 3? Is we will see in our next table. It is divided in a 3 parts according to the size, according to the maximum limit, the number you can store in it. That we will discuss more in next slides. Again the float is divided in a 3 parts, float, double and long double, that we have to discuss in our next slides how it is different. And character is divided in a 2 part, that is signed and unsigned. Signed and unsigned, if you follow this constant here, signed, unsigned in integer, then you have a question just like minus x is possible, plus x is possible? No. So why here the category is based on a signed, unsigned? So if you remember, whenever I am pressing any alphabets or any keys from the keyboards, then it generates its binary codes, because our machine understands only the binary. So according to that binary value, it has 2 possibilities, negative and positive values, and basis on that the character is divided in a 2 part, signed character and unsigned characters. Now last is a void, that is discussed. Now more about these types we will see here in our table. The first is a signed integer, then signed short integer and signed long integer. So what is meaning of it now? The word short, short means the integer occupies 2 bytes. It is fixed for a 32-bit processor, but the name is short, means we have to decrease the size. So according to the size, it is decreased by 1 byte. Maximum is 2 for an integer, and it is decreased by a short integer, that is 1, and it is increased the limit by a long integer, that is 4. Now byte word you all guys aware of it. If you have confusion, then I discuss here. The byte means what? 8 bits, and bit the full form is binary digit. So 0101 it is known as binary digit, and that are combined in a 8 bit, that is known as our 1 bytes. So integer occupies how many bytes? 8 into 8, because it is 2. So total 16 bits are occupied when you are storing any integer value, and basis of that 2 raised to 16, that is 65,536. If you use calc, then you find that numbers. So according to that number, that is divided in a 2 part, negative and positive, and based on that the range is given here, that is -32,7682 plus 32,767. but in an unsigned there is a no negative value, so put directly the positive range, that is 0 to 65535. Now short integer means what? According to the name, now the range is decrease, that is short integer. So the byte is 1, 8 bit, 2 raised to 8. 2 raised to 8 means 256. Again it is divided in a 2 part because of sign. So the value is minus 128 to 127. And for an unsigned short integer it is 0 to 255. For a long integer it is very long number. How? So 2 raised to 32 because of 4 bytes, and that is not remembered by you guys and for also me. So here I put dash. Now same principles here for a float double and long double. Float occupy 4 byte, double 8, and for a long double 10. So it gives more numbers, and just here I mentioned that numbers that you have to remember. And last is a signed character and unsigned character. Character occupy only just 1 bytes. So see, in a previous range, 1 is for a which range? Minus 128 to 127. So simply put that range for a signed character, and for unsigned character the range is 0 to 255. So that things you have to remember. Now move to the second data type, that is derived data types. Now the word derived means it is derived from our original, that is fundamentals data types, that is our primary data types, integer, float and double, that we discussed right now. So the derived data types is mostly categorized in a 2 different way, array, then function, and third is a pointer. These 3 are our different units. So in a details we will learn next. Right now you have to remember only the funda. Array means what? It is a collection of multiple values. If you want 1 value, then you are taking 1 variables. If you want 2 values, then you are taking 2 variables. But suppose I want 100 value, then you are using 100 variables? No. Instead of that, we are using the concept of array. We will see later on in a details. Next is a functions. Function is nothing but the part of our program. It is a modules. We will discuss in a features of C program. It is a modular programming language. So that concept used in this chapter, that is function. And last is a pointer. So pointer is again 1 variable, but it stores the address instead of the value of any variables. Clear? Move to the last data type, that is user defined data types. According to the name, now this data type is created, defined by the users. So the name is given user defined data type. Again it is categorized in a 3 parts. First is a structure, type def and enum. Structure is a totally opposite of array. Array store all the values, multiple values with the same data type, but structure store multiple values with a different data types also. Type def is used to give the new name to the existing data type. Means here our data type int is there, but my name is not as a data type. So suppose I want to give my name as a data type, then also possible, because the type def provides the facility to give the new name to the existing data type. And the last is a enum. So enum is just used to assign name to the integer constant. I hope you guys understand the concept of C tokens and data types very well. If you like this video, then thumbs up. If you think this video will help some of your friends, then do share this video with them. Also you can subscribe my channel, so when I upload new video you get a notifications. If you have any doubt, please contact anytime.